welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Great. How are you, Casey?
I am wonderful, and I'm so excited to have you on. Believe it or not, you're our first engineer. So
Ooh.
I want to open this conversation by asking very broadly, what exactly is an electrical engineer? How would you explain your role to someone who's unfamiliar with it?
As an electrical engineer, I am responsible for making circuits, building instrumentation systems, and automating them. But in my current role in the industry, I work at a material science company. So I'm used to receiving transparent vials of samples or yellow colored vials of samples, you never know. And I'm asked to develop applications for it. That's in
Oh,
short what I do.
okay. So your training is more in electrical engineering, but would you call yourself a material scientist now or a blend of both?
I would call myself an application scientist. So chemists are material scientists. They make transparent vials of samples and they give it to me. And it's up to me what I do with it. Find applications in any space. And during the initial years, I used to find applications in optical display systems like LED TVs, OLED TVs, or even in HVAC systems like solid state cooling, air conditioning, heating systems. But currently, in the last 2 years, I have been focusing primarily on healthcare applications, and that's what I really wanted. So
Ooh.
yeah, that's my role. I find applications, and the other important job that I do is find the bridge between bench chemists with the marketing people. So I tell them that, hey,
Mm.
this material is very good for this application. It is very good for the heart, very good for the brain. So try sell this to some of the big tech companies. So that's where my role comes in.
Oh, awesome. It's really a blend of a whole bunch of stuff because you're integrating science communication into that as
Right,
well.
right.
So, okay, I think what might really help our listeners too is you don't have to give us a real detail or a real project, but can you walk us through like what is an example of a material or a chemical, synthetic chemical, and how you would see its application in the health space?
Good question. And I'll talk about something that I worked on before. So suppose a material, like once a molecule is designed by a chemist in whatever synthesis process, which I don't really understand. I'm not a chemist, and the end result that comes is transparent colored thing or a yellow colored thing or very like something that I don't understand, and I have to. It's like unknown to me. I have to look
Mm.
into that through chemical measurements like XRD. It will give you the crystalline structure, or through GPC systems, which will give me the composition, the material compositions of it. And also the viscosity, which is also an important factor for any material that gets invented or discovered. So that's when I come to know that, okay, this has so and so properties. So because dependent on the viscosity, I can think what kind of coating process I'll apply. So if that material is too viscous, you really can't put them in needles. It can be used
Mm.
as adhesive. So that's when I can talk to the material scientists or the chemists there that, hey, can you make this sticky? Then this has a really great application in transdermal patches or wearable applications. So that's where like I can give ideas for new projects and at the same time explore a wide variety of applications in the healthcare space itself, from wearables to implant coatings. So it's a whole chain system that comes, and it's all up to me what I want to do, and then at the same time communicate with marketing people who is only interested about making the money out of it,
Mm.
not about the chemistry or how I develop the applications. So it also depends on me how I pitch that thing to them, that they pick
Mm.
it up and that talk to our customers, and depending on that the company can make money. So yeah.
Okay. So if I could just echo back what I think I'm understanding. So essentially, a chemist or the chemical team is going to give you, here are some molecules that we made, and then your job is to assess all the characteristics of that molecule and then either propose alterations to it to make it even
Yes.
more applicable, or then pass it on to the material scientists, or even talking to marketers about, okay, this is how it can be applied, either administered, like you said, through a needle, or if it's just an adhesive. Um,
So before I pass it out to the marketing people, I have to do those experiments by myself. So I also have to develop the application, whether it's a coating for a needle, whether it's an adhesive. So I have to design those patches and have to get those experimental data on my own, and then like show those pretty pictures to the marketing people that, hey, see, it's good. Yep.
okay, so proof of
Proof
concept
of concept
before
and
it gets
very
there. Okay.
early stage development.
Oh, this is so cool. So very much research and development,
Right.
um, from the beginning all the way through to then marketing it. So who is the marketing team primarily marketing to? Is it stakeholders? Is it the head of the company, or is it external users of it?
In my current position, the marketing people like tries to sell these products to big medtech companies globally, or even to customers who are trying to use these materials for the specific applications that I have developed. So there are also small startups who are looking to use our materials in their applications. So it's a blend. So sometimes I also get to participate in those marketing conversations, and primarily if the on the other end there is a technical person, the marketing people in our company, absolutely love it when a technical person from our company is present, and primarily that gets to be the application scientist, which is my role, where I can also talk to them about the material properties as well as what applications I think is suitable. And it's a very interesting conversation how things go. And at that moment you get to learn about so many people globally who are also
Yeah.
looking for the same product and looking to solve the same problems as you are.
Oh, it sounds like so much variety in your day. So this next question might be pretty hard. But what would you say a typical day looks like for you, like the specific tasks? So like walk us through when you walk in the door to before you go home.
It depends on what work I really have. As an application scientist, I do have to get into the lab, look at equipments, look at samples, transfer samples, ship samples. So walking into the lab, doing everything I did at grad school also comes into play there.
Mhm.
From cleaning the labs, cleaning the like utensils, to actually recording data and making sure that they are stored in a safe manner such that nobody steals that
Mm.
data. It's very important. But at the same time, I also sometimes get to sit only in front of the computer screens, which is when I am analyzing the data that I collected in the past few days, and I'm deep into those softwares, analyzing them, getting statistics out of them, and primarily making sense of the data. But there are also days when I primarily make presentations such that my work is accessible to someone who is not familiar with chemistry or the applications. It's my job to really start from scratch. Hey, this
Mm.
material is very good for encapsulating neural implants. So this is what a neural implant really looks like. We should target so and so customers, and I give a list of those. And the other big part of my job is to find where we have IP, where we can
Mm.
protect our materials. So IP search does take quite a bit of my time. It's similar to literature review that we used to do in grad school. So now it's no longer literature review. Now where do we have the freedom to operate? So
Mm.
FTO. So finding that is also a very important part of my job right now. So it depends on what I have to do, and it's I'm never bored. So I have a wide variety of things I can do in my day-to-day life.
Wow. No, it really sounds like usually you hear about this for an entrepreneur that wears 1,000 different hats. It really sounds like you wear a lot of different hats, from bench scientists all the way to going to find companies you could sell this product to, right? So, quite the scope. What do you enjoy most about what you do?
I mean, as an early career, I still enjoy walking into the labs and looking at new equipment, looking at new materials, and trying to develop the real application out of it. When the first, like, there are innumerable times when things don't work out. I didn't get the material diluted to the right viscosity, so I can't coat
Hmm.
it then. So it's very frustrating that time. But when I finally can form a uniform coating over a medical device and then finally get to test the thickness, so these are the things that still excites me. And
Hmm.
I'm very like interested in unpacking new tools. So whenever a new project comes up and you have to order a new tool like a microscope or a new coater, I'm very excited about those, like opening those boxes. It's like Christmas presents for me. I'm very
Oh,
excited.
absolutely. Oh, that's awesome. Well, and honestly, like hearing you sort of reflect about the elements of this, it sounds like you had a very fulfilling experience, even as a PhD student, in some of the research that you did. But I have heard from many people of how different academia is from industry. So I'm curious, what is your take in terms of making that transition between those two spaces?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and it's something like when you're only in academia, people don't really prepare you for the industry, and suddenly you're into the industry, and you're like you are still in your old academic habits, and it's very difficult that transition. Like in my 10-year career in this space, I have felt that transition from academia to industry to be quite a bit of a jump. I'll give you an example from my personal experience. Back in my PhD, I designed neural implants, neurostimulation implants, and there the success was measured as to how many papers I published, how many
Hmm.
patents I published, how much grant money I could bring in for my advisors group such that it could fund my project. And all the metrics were very clean, and I didn't have to think about my salary in a sense that I could also take up a teaching assistant position. So those metrics were very clean. But once you move into the industry, those metrics are dependent on how many products you can commercialize in a year,
Mm.
how much money your customers whom you catered to are willing to pay you for your design, for your product, for your application. So that's when things get tricky, because it's not a give and take in the industry. Lots of things like regulatory certifications, product stewardship, these stuff come into place. So if you design a product like right now, it might take up to 10 years for it to finally get into the hands of customers and even patients. So
Mm.
it is a huge transition, and it's often like this is something nobody like prepares you from in academia. In academia, it was very like rewarding. You just had to get results. But now it's not only getting results, it's also crossing that barrier to
Mm.
commercialization. So this is something I personally had to learn and unlearn a lot of things in my position.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really appreciate you sort of bringing up the timeline of it, because I hear a lot of people argue, well, I want to get out of academia and into industry because industry moves faster and I can see my work in society sooner. And so, what are your thoughts on that?
That's actually very true if you're working in a semiconductor space or automobile engineering space where product design to market, that timeline is actually actually pretty fast. It's 3 years. But if you're in a
Hmm.
medtech space like I am currently and I was before, it's like that thing is also guided by FDA. That thing is guided by regulations within the industry, and also regulations for your customers like space.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of conversations that need to take place, and you may or may not get to be a part of those conversations, but behind your back there are people who are actually taking this job seriously. There are lawyers who are actually working through it. So there's a difference, like getting into industry, which industry sector you're getting into is also important.
Hmm.
So medtech does
Absolutely.
take time.
Okay. Good to know. And it sort of makes sense if you think about what's on the line, right? Usually we're talking about people's lives and livelihoods versus, product design of like coming up with, I don't know, a standing desk apparatus. So, that's the first thing that came to my mind. But there's not a life and death there. So probably
Absolutely.
fewer regulations to navigate. So,
Absolutely. A standing desk can only break, maybe, but like say a coating, if it leaches into your blood, what happens then? I'm
mm-hmm.
so glad that FDA and organizations like this are there to actually ensure that it's safe and reliable for things to get inside your body and on your body. So
Absolutely.
it takes time for a reason.
Yeah, agreed. So it sounds like there's a lot of things you love about your job, but every job has its downside. So what aspects of your work do you find less appealing?
Oh, don't get me started on the paperwork. It's very annoying, and like in industry, you'll often come across several changes. So your manager can change, or the leadership can change, and based on that, your paperwork requirements also change. For instance, like
Mm,
I'm still a scientist at heart, and I love getting into the lab, building new stuff, but I absolutely hate like doing the safety paperwork or for a new equipment that I have set up. So once I've set
mm,
up a new equipment, I want to use it, get results, and work with it, basically, not like draft a whole like 10 page of safety paperwork and get it approved by the state and also our EHS people in our building. Like it's a process which, again, I understand it's very necessary to make a safe working
mm,
environment such that people don't just light fires or labs don't burn down. But it's very annoying. You're this
mhm,
close to getting data, but then you're like into like heaps of paperwork that takes whole week getting it approved, and if not more, it depends on the kind of equipment you're working on. Some things, they don't take much time, it's a week and a half, but some things, like, they can take months, from equipment
mm.
moving in, shipping, and it's a lot of paperwork. I particularly don't enjoy that, but I understand it's a part of my job in working in corporate research and development.
Oh, for sure. Going back to your analogy about when a new equipment comes in and it's like Christmas Day and you get to open it, it kind of reminds me of my kids if they open a new toy that doesn't come with batteries. It ends there. The excitement and the fun ends and it's postponed until you get the batteries. So it sounds a little like that, this
Yep.
delayed satisfaction. Um, I'm curious, and I wasn't even planning on talking about this topic necessarily, but it sounds like there's safety paperwork, SOPs, that kind of thing. Do you see a place where AI is going to integrate into those processes to make them a little more efficient?
Yes, absolutely. Like AI has changed our lives significantly in the last 3 years. I mean, when I started my PhD, AI wasn't around. When I
Mm-hmm.
was writing my dissertation, ChatGPT came out, and I was like, wow. So everybody is going to write papers just like that. My 5 years of training is just fake. But like 2 3 years of really using AI, I can see where these things can automate the stuff that I hate, like the paperwork.
Mm.
For instance, in our company, we have taken measures in automating the safety data sheets. It's a basic format, and you can just put in things like uh, if this material can cause respiratory trouble. So there are some section of molecules that are prone to these respiratory trouble, or they're cancerous agents. So you can just click that button and automate it. So
Mm-hmm.
these things, I'm seeing improvement. It's not like everything you have to now do manually. They are much more controlled right now. So I'm excited about what AI can really do in automating systems. And to be honest, when I started in this medtech space 10 years ago, back in India, there the buzzword was IoT, Internet of Things. And now they
Mm.
are covering the same thing under the another buzzword, AI, but they're two very different things. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what people need to understand. And it's also very important to get AI powered over AI decorated. So there's a
Yeah.
difference. And from everything happening around me, I feel like AI powered is happening less, AI decorated is happening more. So, what to
Mm.
use, where to apply AI is very important. But yes, things that I hate, the paperwork, they can be automated pretty easily.
Awesome. Well, that'll make you love your job even more. So you had mentioned India. So I want to go back in time a little bit to your childhood. Did you see yourself going into a field like this, or what was the first childhood career dream you had?
I mean, no, I would straight up say no. I didn't see myself working in the medtech space when I was say 10. Because in India, the education system is slightly different than in the US. In our 10th grade, we have to decide what we want to study: science,
Hmm.
arts, and commerce. So if you go into any one stream, you are not allowed to study the other stream. So the last 2 years of high
Oh.
school, yeah, 11th and 12th grade, it's focused on what stream you choose. So in like where I grew up, it was very evident that you have to become like you are happy in your life only if you're a doctor or an engineer.
Hmm.
So I mean that automatically meant you had to take science, and it was frowned upon if you wanted to go into sociology or literature. And I
Hmm.
wasn't totally on board with it, but I very well realized that if I went into that stream, I would make my parents really disappointed.
Hmm.
So I ended up taking science, but it's not like I didn't enjoy. I absolutely enjoyed studying science in those 2 years. And what happens after 12th grade in India is that if you have to become an engineer or a medical doctor, you have to like pass into like national level examinations, which are extremely competitive. 10 lakh
Hmm.
students take it each year, if not more, and you have to rank in the top 5,000s to actually get a seat in a accredited college where you can become a doctor or an engineer. Luckily,
Wow.
I passed those examinations and I got to study in a national level engineering college. And there again, like which stream you study depends on your rank. So higher
Hmm.
ranks get to choose streams like computer science, electronics, electrical engineering. So there's a like hierarchy there. And I ranked pretty decently there, and I got to study electronics and communication engineering. So
Hmm.
imagine, like in the last 2 years of my teenage, like 60, I was 16 or 17 years old. I spent the entire those 2 years studying, and for these competitive examinations, I got into a college. I mean, I don't know who expected me to study in the first 2 years of college, undergrad college. I don't know, but I didn't study. So I
Hmm.
remember having a lot of fun in my first 2 years of undergraduate. But gradually, when I got into my third year of undergraduate studies, I realized that, okay, having fun shouldn't be the only motive of my life. I should also get serious about my career, what I really wanted to do. That is when I started looking into opportunities. What else is there other than like doing coursework study? What do I want to do 2 years from now? When I asked those questions, I found around me national level entrepreneurship competitions, which is
Hmm.
where you build a very alpha stage prototype, very basic prototype of what you want to do. And you pitch that idea to angel investors and try to raise money, basically lay the foundations of a startup. And I was in my third year of undergraduate when I developed a fitness tracker, and I tried to pitch those ideas for about a year. And it went very successfully, actually. People were convinced, and it was the age of IoT, Internet of Things, and I integrated Bluetooth, and there was a tiny sensor that could record the like heart rate, ECG essentially, And it was going all well until, like, in my fourth year, I realized that okay, I'm really very young into pursuing
Mm.
this. I don't have a technical background into developing real products. For that, I need knowledge, I need to read books, I need courseworks, I need help. And I don't have marketing background where I can sell these products to my to customers. So that was when I decided to pursue a PhD to strengthen my technical background, and that's where I came to the US. That was 8 years ago, and since then I pursued a PhD, which was also in the medtech space, and then currently I started industry. So when I got my PhD, I realized that I was technically pretty sound, but I need to
Mhm.
gain how to sell these products. That's what my industry role is giving me. Really looking at multiple applications, talking to people, gain those connections, such that in 10 years, 10, 15 years, I want to pursue something of my own.
Mhm.
Again, restart my entrepreneurship background. I want to be prepared. I want to have that community around me where I can gain that support. So, yeah, going back to your question, if I knew things would turn out like this in my childhood, no, I absolutely didn't.
Wow. I am completely blown away. So, I have a lot of international clients that I work with who, when they're trying to pitch themselves to US career opportunities, it's tricky because most US employers don't actually know what's involved in the education leading up to that person working in the US. And just hearing you describe what it's like in India to pursue and get into this field, like that's a selling feature of you are extremely qualified and ready for an opportunity in the US. And in fact, probably should get a job over those of us that were educated in the US based on that, especially those early years. So I think it's one of those things in the US, assume that your employer doesn't know what it took to get there. So they might need a little more context and explanation. But after your PhD, did you run into any friction in terms of getting a job, or was it pretty seamless?
Oh, lots of it. I mean, as an international student, the first friction that we get into is visa, the immigration
Yeah.
struggles. And like, I honestly, in this age, I feel lucky that I got a job 3 years ago, because even then, if you hit that button while applying jobs, like, do you need sponsorship? You still had a chance of hearing back based on your educational qualifications and the kind of projects you did. But right now, it's extremely difficult as an international student to get the job. But yeah, I mean, I have been bench rejected by lots of jobs because of my visa, and because I would need sponsorship from the company to continue working. And like, even before I could, like, apply for those, there are some jobs which clearly states that only US citizens are permanent residents.
Mm.
So those are the kinds of frictions that you face. And before you become a permanent resident, it's always very dicey about your future into finding jobs in the United States. Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that because it does shift the pool of options available to you. And then even those that don't explicitly state that,
Yeah.
um, if they've never sponsored an
Right.
international person before, it's helping educate them of what is actually involved in sponsoring someone.
Right.
And it's not as difficult as I think a lot of companies think it is. So, but it's a lot easier going into a larger company that has worked with a lot of international
Absolutely.
folks before. So, yeah. So, milestones in your career. So, it sounds like you went through your high school years in India. You did your undergrad in India as well.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then you
That's
came over to the US for your PhD. And then the job you're currently in, is that the same job as you got right after your
Yeah,
PhD?
that's
Okay.
correct.
Were there any gaps or like breathing room, or was it pedal to the metal, one opportunity after the other?
I think the last break that I got for myself where I had to do nothing was the 3 months between my undergrad and coming to US. That summer was the last time where I had nothing to do. I nobody asked me to earn money, thankfully. So I could do whatever I like, sitting like spending a Indian summer back home with
Hmm.
like watching TV series, movies, FIFA World Cup, and
Yep.
like absolutely enjoying. So that was the last 3 months I can remember getting to take a break. But after that, like after moving to the United States, just because of my visa, I had to keep on working. There wasn't really any break. So even my colleagues at my current place, current position, like they tell me, so you didn't take a break after your PhD, and I'm like, no, I couldn't afford
Well,
to.
no, most visas, every visa is a little different, but most visas have like a 90-day window max that you
60.
have to. Yeah,
60.
exactly. So, and some folks in science can petition to get the extension, but that's a tight window,
Yeah.
especially because the job market right now in the US, we're recording this in early 2026. It's rough,
Hmm.
and people are, it's taking them 6 to 9 months to
Yeah.
land a job in their field, and yet we're expecting international folks on visas to do it in a matter of 2 months. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So if anybody's listening that is international, I just want to encourage you, get help so that you can land that job in that timeline versus having the stress of, either being deported or having to get your citizenship quickly. And maybe you don't want to become a citizen, right? And so you have that option too, but it's difficult in this job market right now. I hope it improves. I would gander in 3 years or so, science and medicine will take a rebound, but it's tough right now.
It is.
So um, along those lines, like what advice would you give to someone that's interested in being what really is an applied scientist? So it's sort of a mix of various sciences, but what would you say to someone interested in that field?
Uh, I think the first advice I would give is to be unique, to be bold. And in this
Mm,
era, it's very easy to follow that rat race. Like like for instance, now there's this buzz, AI buzz. Like it's very easy to, get some AI certification and then apply for AI jobs. But that's also a rat race, right? You're following the path everybody is following, and I'm not telling that going down that road is bad, necessarily bad. But what happens, like when you have a lot of AI scientists in the same room at that time, like you need innovation. So my advice would be to be unique, to find your unique strength, your
mm,
unique technical domain that uh, where you feel like you can contribute, where you feel like you can grow, and you can actually be a subject matter expert, and use things like AI, IoT as your tools to
mm,
help benefit that field. So be unique in your and whatever you're doing, and enjoy whatever you're doing, because without passion you're not going to end up anywhere. So
mm,
you need to enjoy what you're doing. And the other thing which I'm currently working on myself is to have a lot of patience. And any
mm,
job you take up, you're not going to enjoy every day. You are allowed to have bad days, and you will have them. So it's very important to sit back on those days, do whatever you like, and just wake up the next day with a new motivation, get back to that job. And if you really like it, you're gonna stick around it. But if you still do not like it, make sure how you react to that is important. Make sure
mm.
you find a strategy, you build a path of getting yourself out of that path. So that is very important. I feel like having that patience to do so is important.
Absolutely. And I think what a great point to bring up there, because a lot of us are in a hurry. We're like, we feel like we should be in our end zone career in the first 5 years in it. And I do this exercise with my clients all the time of let's put that on a timeline.
Right.
And when you realize, okay, if my goal is to be in my pinnacle career field, doing the max job I could possibly do at 35 or 40, and you want to work until you're 67,
Right.
that's a long time doing the same thing with no growth potential. And for a lot of us that come out of the high achieving academic framework where you go like undergrad, master's, PhD, sometimes postdoc into a career, we get itchy after 4 or 5 years and like want the next thing, want the next promotion. And so just be mindful that you have a lot more runway to work in your career than we think. So I love that you brought up patience. I think that's one that we overlook. And then, of course, the uniqueness. Boy, I could preach this until I blew in the face. And you got to find your niche and what feels right for you. And that takes a lot of time of self reflection because we get hit with ideas and perspectives from society, from our parents, from our friends, from our colleagues, from our mentors. And it's great, but you need to filter it through what you're really passionate about. Because that might work really well for somebody else and it might not work well for you.
Right.
So, I love this. So, I just want to thank you. And for anyone listening to this episode right now, I know you can hear the passion in Renata's voice. I encourage you to hop on YouTube and see it in her face. It's clear that you really have found something that lights you up. And I'm just so incredibly happy for you.
Thank you.